Hello, welcome to the Cup Night channel. My name is Shane, and today is another segment of Terror the News. And yeah, the article I have picked to read today is this one. It just caught my eye, and the concepts presented here, I haven't read it yet at all, just the title, but are pretty interesting. X transparency tool exposes fake foreign accounts. So yeah, X, formerly Twitter, apparently they launched this new tool that shows where accounts have were created, like what country they were created in. So it's like giving this new layer of information to these accounts that may be operating, doing things that are a bit shady, trying to influence people in specific ways. It's now showing like where they're operating from, which adds this whole other dimension to their angle, right? So yeah, before we get started on reading this first section here on the pre-shuffle, start off with the Five of Cups. So I have a feeling this is might be a bit devastating to some people who didn't expect something like this. Some this level of information to be transparently put out there. So they could be feeling a bit of a hit to their credibility, their image, this digital persona they have been hiding behind. Yeah, and then we also have the desert. So given the nature of this article, this is giving me the energy of like being hung out to dry, in the desert, just no water, maybe even freezing because this particular desert card depicts nighttime, and in a lot of deserts it gets severely cold at night, extreme weather temperature swings. um yeah, which is also giving me this idea of like they thought they were like hidden and like they could operate this account and nobody would know much about them, where they're from. There's like this anonymity element to it, right? And then now it's like the complete opposite, where okay, now we can see where you are and where you're operating from. um yeah, so let's read this first part here and see what else wants to come through. A transparency tool launched by X on November 22nd has revealed that dozens of prominent accounts posing as American MAGA supporters and Gaza war witnesses are actually operated from countries including Nigeria, Russia, Bangladesh, and Eastern Europe, raising fresh concerns about foreign interference and disinformation campaigns on social media platforms. Yeah. Yeah, for those of us who are aware, this is nothing new. We know that there are disinformation campaigns happening all the time on the internet, foreign interference, people in this country trying to interfere with what's going on in this country for their own particular interests. I mean, it's not surprising. We know this happens. But now we can actually see it with this new level of transparency. So there's a reveal here. There's more information, whereas like you may have thought this source of information was one thing, and now people are able to see clearly like, oh, why are they operating from that place? Why is this coming out of that place? Yeah. The About This Account feature, announced by X's head of product, Nikita Beer, displays users' geographic location, account creation details, and username change history when others tap the joined date on profiles. Username change history when others tap the joined date on profile. Okay, so that's what you click to see all this information. Within hours of rollout, users discovered that accounts with nearly 400,000 followers claimed to be Patriot Voice for We the People were actually based overseas. Go figure, right? Oh, big surprise. Oh man, the shadiness, the shadiness. Yeah, so here's an example of what this might look like. Oh, that got smaller when I clicked on it. Weird. So yeah, you can see date joined July 2012. This is for the the head Nikita Beer head of product for X. So this is their profile. Account based in United States. They've had 2 username changes. Shows when it was last done. Shows how they're connected to the application, to the platform. That's interesting. It's quite a bit of information there. Foreign operations unmasked. Yeah. Okay. Before I read this part, let's get a little bit. Oh well, you know what? We'll just go into this and then I'll pull some cards. The feature exposed multiple categories of inauthentic accounts. MAGA Nation X, an account with significant following and American patriotic branding, was revealed to be based in Eastern Europe, while Ivanka News, which has 1 million followers and frequently posts about immigration threats and support for President Donald Trump, operates from Nigeria. An account called America First was traced to Bangladesh. Yeah, guys, once again, surprise, surprise, things are not always what they seem, right? You can't just blindly trust things, especially on the internet. You gotta do your due diligence and think, what does this anonymous information source on the internet have to gain from spouting this information? Who's benefiting here? You gotta ask tough questions. Why are they doing this? Don't just believe things without being critical. You got to use that noggin, use that intuition. What's really going on here? You know, don't just latch on to ideals because it's comfortable. That's gonna you're gonna be taken advantage of if you live that way. All right. Anyway, rant over for now. Beyond political accounts, the tool uncovered what appears to be coordinated disinformation about the Gaza conflict. Accounts claiming to document life under bombardment in Gaza were actually posting from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Indonesia, and Russia. One account describing its owner as a witness in Rafah living under airstrikes was shown to be posting from Afghanistan, while a supposed nurse in Khan Yunis was based in Pakistan. Yeah, so deception, 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 right? Things are not what they seem. People are creating illusions to benefit for their own means. Yes, this is the world we live in. This is a land of illusions. You know, even before the internet, this physical world is not quite what it seems. You have to dig a little deeper. You have to go deeper. You have to go under the surface of appearances to really dial in on the energy and figure out, is this something I can trust? Is it not? Is this authentic? Is it not? Because when you start interacting with energy at on that like frequency level of like really tapping in and feeling it, you can pick up. You can know when your bullshit detector gets an upgrade, right? You just have to, it's a muscle. You got to work it out. You got to work that psychic sense. Yes. Okay, let's get some archetypes and then I'll draw some tarot cards, see what wants to come out. This one's fun already. Something already fell out. The temple. Yeah. To me, this is that like energy of alignment that I was just talking about, right? It's upgrading your temple, to be able to detect these kinds of things, right? It's keeping your temple clean and honest and pure so that when a signal that feels off comes through, you immediately know. You're just like, wait a minute, this ain't the frequency, this ain't the truth. I know what my truth frequency is. This ain't it. That's, got to balance that temple, keep it clean, cleanse, be devoted to the truth, to your truth. That way you'll know when something that's not your truth comes in and you can pick up on it immediately. That's what this world really needs. Especially with AI and deepfakes and all of this crazy technology that can create these imposters. These, they can take the image of someone and make them say and appear to say and do things that they didn't actually do. It wasn't authentic. It wasn't true, but it looks like it. But it's an illusion. You know, this world, we need people, for one, to get in contact with their heart, to really know the contents of their heart, because To me, this is where, this is our core. This is where, the heart, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, your whole body is a temple, but the heart is like the center of that temple, right? So there's a big emphasis on centering and making sure that your heart is light as a feather, that you're not holding on to these dense, murky frequencies that can, inhibit your ability to detect truth and to detect lies and deceit and illusions. We all need massive upgrades to our bullshit detectors, especially in this age of technology that we live in, where nothing is ever as it seems. Even it's cool that they're rolling these features out to be more transparent, but even that could be manipulated theoretically. I'm not saying that it is, but theoretically, that data on the back end could be manipulated because while we get to see the information posted, that they contain, um, the company, the people who work there could technically go into the database and alter the data unless there are checks and balances, unless they're audited regularly. I don't know if they are or not. I'm not going to dig that deep into it. I'm just giving an example. Like, even this could technically be used to portray some kind of illusion. But I think we know, countries interfere with each other all the time. This is not surprising at all. This, to me, my bullshit detector is not going off for this. It's just like, yeah, I knew it. We knew. It's just being confirmed now. Yeah. Okay. And finally, the bridge. Here we go. Yes, the bridge connection. Connection to truth. That's that truth frequency, right? It's a rainbow bridge there. These two hands connecting energetically over an ocean of possibilities. To me, this is kind of representing the internet here, right? Because the internet is a bridge. It connects people over vast distances, which is what this card is displaying right here. We've got the number 38 coming through, which reduces to a 10. We also have the number 31 for the heart card, so 31 or 4. And the number 39 with the temple, so 39 or 3. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, these archetypes are plain as day to me. The message is so clear. Connect with your truth, your personal truth, right? Let's see. So, yeah, here I'll just flash them again. Temple, heart, bridge. Because if you are honest with yourself and you really try to live in your actual deepest, most, inner chambers of your heart's truth, and that is the bridge that is going to connect you with real people, real authentic connections, right? Because you're going to connect at such a deep level whenever you are speaking nothing but your truth, not trying to put up a front, not trying to pretend to be someone you're not trying to live your life for other people. You're just you're living that God-given purpose, if that's the way you want to look at it, right? It's like only you know what that is. No one else can tell you. You have to do the inner work, which is not easy, by the way. Never saying that. It's not easy. It is hard. It is difficult. It's probably the hardest thing you can do in this life is to fully be authentically you for everyone around you. It ain't easy, but it's going to bring you those heart based connections that are as real can get. And you'll know they'll feel different, they'll feel real and honest. Okay, let's draw some cards here. this idea of digital mass is coming through heavy here too, because it's so easy for people to just create accounts on these platforms, right? Or forums or whatever, and just pretend to be something they're not, pretend to push an agenda that they don't actually really have any basis in at all, you know, because they're working on someone else's behalf. They're trying to create a narrative that benefits a group or a single person or whatever, but benefits the few instead of everyone. And so you really have to be careful when you're taking information in from sources that are shadowy and unclear and not forthright about their history, where they're coming from. You know, if something doesn't have a solid story behind it, it's sus, it's suspect. You should be suspicious of it because why are they hiding it? You know? And I understand that privacy has big implications for people who live in countries where those in power are, well, they wield a lot of power, right? They can have people murdered in broad daylight for living their truth, for speaking truth, right? So I understand that side of it as well. It's a balance, right? It's always a balance. But what I'm talking about here is ask for more, right? If something is uncertain to you or it seems off, it's dig deeper. That's all I'm saying. Don't just accept things for truth immediately. Don't even just accept like the first time you meet someone. You can't just immediately assume you know exactly who they are upon that first meeting, right? You have to have continual engaged interaction with these people in order to truly discover who they are and what they represent. Are they living their truth? Are they deceitful? Are they not? You know, it takes prolonged connections, to really be able to clock patterns, right? And that's what this is all about, is identifying patterns. Is this a pattern of truth or is this a pattern of deception? I'm Ace of Swords. Speaking of the truth, right? Oh, I would not be surprised if it comes up again, but yeah, just had to share that while it was there. Okay, what other angles can we divine from this information, Spirit? What other truths? Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, we have three tens out here on the bottom. Ten of Swords. Massive change, especially related to communications. Yeah, this is a big development, right? It's kind of like peeling back a layer of a mask, of a digital mask. We have great change. Wheel of Fortune. Another 10, right? Ending. Yeah, this is the ending of something big, the start of something new. More transparency. And once again, 10 of Wands. Yeah, this burden, right? There's some kind of burden associated here. There may have been a burden placed on the platform X for being people demanding more transparency, and that's why this came about, right? Well, completion. It's here. You know, the feature is live. There is now more transparency on this platform. And then finally, we have the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, there's been a consistent, focused effort on this, right? People have been putting in the work to make this a reality, to reveal more of the truth, to demand that more of the truth be revealed, right? We want this, we want these, we want to know, can it be trusted, right? Can these connections be trusted? Yeah, I mean, fantastic. I think this is a really good thing. Like I said, theoretically, unless these data storage practices by X are audited by third parties and confirmed that no, there's no manipulation going on, you know, we can't really know if the information being presented can be fully trusted. But I mean, there can be community efforts because like people can go to different countries, create accounts, and make sure that the information matches, and they could even like test like VPNs. Like, okay, what if I use a VPN and create an account in this country, but my IP address is set to another country? Does it show up as where I actually am or this other one? Those kinds of things. So let's get to this last section here. Platform response and privacy concerns. The feature was temporarily disabled shortly after launch, with users speculating the exposure of far-right account origins prompted the removal, though it has since been reinstated. X is also developing a VPN detection system. Hey, we were just talking about that. That would display warnings when accounts use proxy services to mask their location. Wow. Okay. So they're even going to give that information out. That's cool. Stating country or region may not be accurate on affected profiles. Okay. That's cool. Users can adjust privacy settings to display either their specific country or a broader geographic region under the app's privacy and safety settings. The rollout remains staged, with many users able to view their own information but not yet able to access others' account details. Yeah. So once again, that's cool too. They're giving people the option to be more or less transparent, but either way, there's still some level of transparency there regardless, right? There's like a minimum level of transparency that is required now, which is cool. So if yeah, it kind of gives people. I don't personally use X or Twitter. I don't use social media. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. There are better ways to connect with people, as far as I'm concerned. Because yeah, I mean, these platforms have been nothing but manipulation tools for the most part, making people feel bad because their life is not seemingly as good as someone else. It's just I don't think that these platforms were designed to empower us. They're designed to make money, right? Yeah. That's how I feel about it anyway. Just my personal feelings. Feel free to disagree with me. That's okay. Put it in the comments. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see that those kinds of features are part of it too. Like there's some level of control on the user's behalf. But it gives people who are, wanting to dig deeper into information sources like these and be able to see like, oh, they're holding back information. Why? Not saying that that immediately means the source is just, not credible, but it just makes you wonder, like, why are they doing that? It adds another angle to the mystique of the account. The Center for Information Resilience had previously flagged fake account networks supporting the MAGA movement during the 2024 election. Content creators on X received payment for engagement driving posts, creating financial incentives for foreign operators to capitalize on divisive American political content, with American dollars proving particularly lucrative for individuals in countries like Nigeria and Bangladesh. Wow. Oh, yeah, so there's another layer of complication there. There's literally a financial incentive for people to manipulate information on these platforms. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Eight of Pentacles, right? There's money to be made for doing these manipulation tactics. But now that people can see, where the information is coming from, at least, you know, on a better level, then these accounts might get less engagement. They might not be, their business might be changing. I mean, we have 3 10s out here with this Eight of Pentacles. So yeah, the work is changing. This routine is changing. Big changes. I mean, Wheel of Fortune, Ten of Swords, Ten of Wands, that is a massive change. Yeah, and this Ten of Swords, painful ending for people who have been used to the way things have been. I mean, it's not going to be so easy to dupe people going forward. And people are, I believe, hungrier for the truth more than ever these days because we've been lied to and manipulated for so long. I mean, since I have entered this world in this form, right? I was born into the internet already existed when I was born. So there's always, and even before the internet, there was, manipulation. There's always some level of manipulation going on out there in the world. It's just part of this experience of this reality. But it just feels like it's been extra with since the internet has blown up and gotten as big as it has, right? Digital masks, they're easier, anyone can make one. It's the barrier to doing it is so low. It's so low. It does require work, but like anybody can make an account and pretend to be someone they're not. So, that being said, even on YouTube, things like this happen. Don't just trust anyone in the comments, y'all. You still have to use discernment and tapping in and really asking yourself on a deep level, is this information something I can trust or something that I should even be concerned with at all? I mean, there are scams on YouTube in the comment sections on larger channels all the time. So much so that the content creators have to be like, hey, especially for YouTube tarot readers, I see it all the time. They're like, hey, that's not me in the comments. It's not me. They're scamming you. It's a scam. I mean, that's ridiculous. But it happens. It's reality. It's the truth of the situation. So always have your bullshit detector on is what this message is. Keep that bullshit detector on and keep it charged. Make sure it's juiced up, you know. Keep that intuition sharp and the intellect too. They go hand in hand. When they're working together, you know, you're unstoppable. Really. I mean, yeah, someone could pull a really well-designed con and maybe they'll dupe you. But you just do your best, right? We just do our best. I would say most of the time, if you're on the lookout for it, you know, you'll be able to tell when something's off. Even if it goes against your logical mind, you'll feel it. You'll be like, something's not right here. Because there is no deceiving energy, right? Energy doesn't lie. The energy of deceit carries a very particular flavor, a very particular frequency. And the more you develop your intuition, your psychic abilities to pick up on those kinds of energies, the faster you'll be able to recognize them when they're around. And then you can just disengage from the situation, right? Hopefully, I mean, it depends on your specific scenario. There are a lot of crazy things that happen out there in the world. Not trying to spread fear, just saying we need to keep our defenses up, right? Defenses up. Not so much so that you blind yourself, but in a balanced way. Yeah, slow and steady. Really take your time. Any new opportunities that come in, really take your time with them. Really, I mean, look at this knight. He's sitting still. He has stopped. His horse is not moving. And he is studying intently that pinnacle that he's holding. He's looking at this new thing that came in and he's asking himself, you know, is this the truth? The star? Is this the like raw, honest truth that I'm holding in my hands right now? Does this feel like authentic energy? The star? I mean, perfect card for authenticity, right? If it's not carrying that star frequency, if it's even slightly off, if it feels like it's being manipulated, right? I mean, the shadow aspect of the magician, a manipulator, somebody holding back information or distorting it. See how his hands are like, he could turn that pinnacle, like distort the image at any point in time. You really gotta, yes, you just really gotta be careful these days. And the best defense against all these misinformation campaigns and just like deceitful energy that is out there is to really come home to yourself, right? The temple of the heart. You really got to come home to yourself. And in order to keep that space clean, you got to be completely honest with yourself, do the shadow work, face the demons, clean out the closet, you know, all of that. It's got to be, you know, that's how you keep your bullshit detector at maximum is by making sure that you are right with yourself and with those around you. And that process ain't easy, you know. It's the journey of life, right? Okay. Yeah. So I this is a really good message. I'm glad I went with this. This is kind of like slightly politically leaning content, which I didn't really want to engage in much with these articles, but this one stood out to me and a really interesting, powerful, honest message came through. So I'm glad I went with this one. But anyway, yes. Uh, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy the message. Maybe you felt inspired by it or you got some entertainment from it at least. If you have any articles you're interested in me potentially doing a reading on, you can share them in the comments below and I will consider it. Not saying that I will do it. I'm going to have to use my own discernment and decide, is this something is there a message here worth sharing, right? So yeah, I'm not just going to blindly accept it, but I will consider it. I will consider it. Um, if you like the video, please like it. Helps the channel. As always, take care of yourselves. Clean your temple. Keep your heart open. Bye.